Hello, and thank you for tuning in. If you like scary movies, trailers, and reviews, or you're like us and you like making predictions about what's going to happen at the end of a horror movie, then subscribe to the Gutted Horror Podcast.
It would really mean a lot to us if you took a second to scroll down, hit that subscribe button, follow us across social media so you don't miss us spill our guts about horror films.
How do you gut someone?
Always trust my gut. Hello and welcome to Gutted. I'm Aleece.
And I'm Tony, and we're here to spill our guts about horror films. And today, what's that?
I'm excited.
Today we have a very special episode for you. Sorry, we have to start.
No, I don't.
Today we have a very special episode for you. We have our second annual GASH Awards. Aleece, what is the GASH Award for those who did not listen in last year?
I'm sure you all did because they were highly televised and advertised. They weren't. It stands for the Gutted Awards for Snubbed Horror because often the Oscars that we love to watch every single year since we were children, sometimes we're disappointed because we feel like horror as a genre gets snubbed, but not this year. Oddly enough.
Yeah, this year was a huge year for horror at the Oscars.
The GASH Awards basically were our way to pay homage to horror films and performances and elements that we felt like needed to be honored since typically they are snubbed during award season.
It's also just a great way to talk about more horror films and some that we didn't get to mention during our top 10 horror films of 2025, because there are certain elements of different films that we like for certain reasons, and it might not have reached our top 10 list, but we still think that they deserve some credit.
Yes. I mean, we did nominate our top 10 pretty heavily, but we did also try to sneak in some that we thought just did a really good job at this one thing.
Yeah. So if you listen to our top 10 horror of 2025, you'll definitely hear some repeaters, but it'll go into more detail as to what we liked about that film or what category we thought that film really stood out for us.
Exactly.
Yeah. And speaking of the Oscars, Aleece, I have a question for you. You mentioned that you have been watching the Oscars since you were a kid.
Yeah.
I know the Oscars are not super popular these days. Viewership has been at an all-time low, or according to social media.
But now that Conan O'Brien is hosting, skyrocketing, as they should be.
My opinion of the Oscars is I love watching it, but it doesn't necessarily line up with what my favorite movie of the year was. And it really never has. So it is one of those things where it's like, you're pretty happy if your favorite movie does get nominated or wins, but it usually doesn't. It's usually like a surprise or something like, who are these mystery people who are voting for these movies and never nominating horror movies for the Oscars?
Ever since I can remember, my family and I, we have watched the Oscars and we would vote. And I remember back in the 90s, we all voted our separate ways. I, of course, never won back in that day because at that time I was the youngest.
Won what?
I never won the Oscar betting.
You never won an Oscar?
I never won the Oscar pool.
The Oscar pool. Oh, okay. So
yeah, within my family.
Okay. So yeah. So you're talking about like voting and then having a ballot and then seeing who has the most correct.
Yeah, I always lost.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Because I was young and I was like, I don't know, I'm going to vote for The Lion King every time.
You just vote for all the kid movies.
All the kid movies.
Yeah.
And there was one year, when The Lion King was nominated for Best Song, everyone voted for Circle of Life, and I was the only one who voted for Not to Become One. What's that song?
To Become One. You voted for the Spice Girls, or right in.
Before they even formed. No, I voted for
Can You Feel the Love Tonight?
Can You Feel the Love Tonight? And my parents, my brother were like, are you sure about that, Aleece? Because that's never going to win. And they bullied me into changing my vote. And I did. And guess what won? To Become One. Can You Feel the Love Tonight? And I cried.
I think Circle of Life got snubbed because that's the superior song.
I obviously, as a young child, knew the better song. It was Can You Feel the Love Tonight? And it won. And I sobbed, and then they let me change my vote back to what I originally wanted since I was bullied out of it.
Well, what do you think about all of the sort of hate that the Oscars gets? What's your take on that?
The hate as far as what? There's a lot of different areas of hate for the Oscars.
People think that it's boring. Some people don't watch it because it's too political.
It could be political. It could be too white. It could be too male. It could be to a lot of things, honestly. But I do feel like this year is probably one of my most satisfied viewings that I've had in a long time of the Oscars. I did not see all the movies nominated. I didn't even see all of the best pictures, like Marty Supreme. Sorry, didn't watch it. But I would say the ones that I watched, I did really enjoy. And I was pleasantly surprised with the outcome for the most part. There's only one award where I was like, really? And
there are some snubs, yeah.
Sorry.
I agree with those general criticisms of the Oscars. I do feel like it's too white and it's too male. It's boring in some ways, but not, I don't know. I'm fine with it being boring.
I've never been bored watching it.
Yeah.
Is the thing.
And Conan O'Brien as the host, I think did a fantastic job. If you're a fan of Conan O'Brien's humor, which you obviously are.
In high school, my friend and I nominated him for Homecoming King. He didn't win, but that might have been because we promoted him via Post-its around campus. But I've always been a fan of Conan O'Brien. And when he hosted last year, I was like, yes, this is going to be a good one. And this year was even better.
It was amazing. He started off the show dressed as Amy Madigan and Gladys. And
that was the best opening.
Was chased through all the different movies by the screaming kids. That was
set to the soundtrack of Beastie Boys' Sabotage. It was my favorite Oscar opening. In years, decades, maybe.
What a way to also honor horror in film by opening the Oscars with a horror movie skit.
Lovely. Loved it. So fun. Okay, so biggest actual snub at the Oscars. I think we all know. I think we're all on the same page here. Supporting actor. Honestly, I would have been okay if it went to Delroy Lindo or Stellan Skarsgård, but it went to the absent
to Sean Penn.
Yeah,
that for me also, I agree. That was definitely the biggest snub of the Oscars. I really think it should have went to Delroy Lindo.
If you saw Sentimental Value, Stellan Skarsgård also did a fantastic job. Yeah. And I think what happened, my theory is that most people that voted or that watched all of these movies, I think were split between Delroy Lindo and Stellan Skarsgård because their performances were both really solid. They both have been in the business forever. And we're just like, man, if either one of them wins, it would be like so joyous. And neither of them won. I think they split the vote. I think that's what happened. And then I think third in line was Sean Penn. Sorry, Jacob Elordi. Okay, and Benicio del Toro already won. And I kind of felt like, Benicio del Toro was just playing himself in one battle after another, which was really entertaining. And Jacob Elordi, really great. But I think people couldn't get past the monster makeup and see Jacob Elordi. So I really feel like Sean Penn was third in line after Delroy Lindo and Stellan Skarsgård. And I think that's what happened. But the rest of the Oscars, I feel like went pretty well.
I'm okay with One Battle After Another winning. I thought it was a fantastic movie. After it won, did get a lot of criticism. I also would have been very happy if Sinners won because that was an incredible film as well.
I mean, if Sinners just took home everything, I would have been really happy with that. Yeah. But I was still okay with the ultimate outcome. Autumn Durald Arkpa winning cinematography, the first female to win cinematography, the first woman of color to be nominated for cinematography. That was a huge win. I couldn't believe it when she won.
And we saw it in 70mm IMAX.
Yeah.
We really got the full true experience and it was amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing.
Now, what do you feel like would be the biggest snub altogether? Like the movie that was snubbed the most at the Oscars?
28 years later, because that was our #1 horror movie of 2025 and it didn't get nominated for anything.
And The Ugly Stepsister that was only nominated for hair and makeup. It was so much more than just hair and makeup. I mean, hair and makeup was impressive and it didn't win for hair and makeup, but that was also very much snubbed for me.
Yeah. A lot of people liked The Long Walk, the performances in that, the cinematography, a lot about that, the adaptation of the novel. There are still some horror movies that didn't quite get the buzz, but I am happy that we did get quite a few nominations.
Yeah.
So
I am happy for Sinners and Frankenstein and The Ugly Stepsister, which should have had more. But ultimately, that's why we are here, to pay tribute to all of those movies that were snubbed in various categories or altogether.
And in turn, we are going to snub some films and performances ourselves because of our voting system.
So if you want to make an award show that comments on how the GASH likes to snub, I don't know, no one will. Should we get into it?
Yeah, let's get into it. So how are these GASH awards going to work?
So basically we have to Rochambeau to see who goes first because we are a voting committee of 2. And we're just going to take turns voting. We've come up with the categories and nominees together. I did spend my entire day at work yesterday fine-tuning these categories.
Don't tell anyone that.
Maybe I'll just cut that out. No one would listen. Anyway, here we go.
We're just going to decide
We're
on
going
the
to
fly.
rock, paper, scissors. So whoever goes first will pick the winner. So we do have some categories that we've taken from the Oscars, but also we have our own made-up categories like best intestines. You'll find out later what that means. Okay, here we go. Rock, paper, scissors.
All right.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
I messed up. Sorry, I
Oh,
cheated.
You cheated. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Ah, got me.
All right. That means I get to go first, right?
Dang it, yes.
All right. So to get us started, do you have an opening ceremony? Are you going to be chased by children wearing Aunt Gladys makeup?
I forgot my Oscar, or I forgot my GASH. It looks like a little gold man wearing intestines.
It's all right. We'll put in a picture of it afterwards.
Put it in post.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Okay, here we go.
Yes.
The first category for the GASH ceremony is for Best Trailer. And one day we will go to the Golden Trailer Awards, but not yet because it's actually expensive to go. So our own category of Best Trailer, the nominees are 28 Years Later, Ugly Stepsister, Weapons, The Monkey, or Traumatica.
All right. Wow. I already have my winner.
I know you do.
I know what it's going to be, but I do want to mention the trailers for all of these movies. We just recently rewatched, and it's so fun revisiting, especially because we were doing a lot of trailer reviews, just revisiting and feeling that like hype. Like a movie that has a good trailer is something that is either doesn't give away too much information, gets you hyped on the movie, and also is like edited very well with a good song, but not too obvious of a song.
And also it can't stray too far from what the movie's actually about. So it ends up being a nice little nutshell or a little prelude as to what you might see in the movie.
So I am going to give my award to 28 Years Later, in particular, the teaser. It's the boots. Like when that was playing in the theaters, it sent chills up my spine every time. All right, we have our first award and the GASH Awards down the hatch. What would you call that?
In the bucket.
In the bucket,
In the barrel. In the can.
In the can.
Yeah.
All right. Our next award goes to Best Costume. And Aleece, your options, your nominees are Ugly Stepsister, Opus.
I don't laugh at Opus.
Sorry.
It wasn't as bad as people were saying.
Yeah, it had some great elements to it for sure. There's definitely some things
I don't know
liked
why it
about
was hated so much.
Okay, back to the nominees. Queens of the Dead, Him, or Dust Bunny. Just as a reminder, we did not nominate Frankenstein because it actually won the Oscar for Best Costume. So congratulations to Frankenstein. That was an amazing set of, I don't know, ragtags that Frankenstein was wearing. A hoodie.
Also, I think you're forgetting Mia Goth's costume.
Yeah, she looked amazing.
They underutilized Mia Goth as an actress, but they really ramped up her costumes.
That's right. Sinners, which also received an Oscar nomination for all of that period piece,
all of the blazers and suits of Smoke and Stack.
Yeah.
And also that scene of dancing through time or music through time had a lot of different costumes in that portion. So my award is going to go to, probably no surprise, Ugly Stepsister. To me, this movie was the full package. Everything was so detailed. And that ballroom scene, all those gowns. I don't know also if you're counting accessories because
the nose piece.
The nose piece was very
was really
iconic
cool
for this year. I saw a lot of Halloween costumes this year where they were Ugly Stepsister with the nose piece on. Some elements for me of costume are like, how iconic can they be of the accessories or the materials?
Yeah. Also, that part of the costume in that movie led to the story. Because I remember the scene of her like tightening up to like lift
Her
everything.
corset,
And
right.
She's essentially wearing a costume as she transforms through that movie.
She transforms internally, outwardly, and her costumes transform. And even at the end, her costume transforms once again. Very detailed with the costume choices for Ugly Stepsister. Second place for me would be Queens of the Dead, because there were quite a few stylish costumes in that club. All right, our next category, Tony, is for Best Hair and Makeup. Ugly Stepsister, Sinners, and Frankenstein were nominated, so they are not in our category. And Frankenstein actually won an Oscar.
Wait, can I mention my controversy?
What's your controversy?
My online controversy.
Oh, yes. Tony got into some hot water for this.
I was feeling joking one day and
it wasn't one day. It was like the night of the Oscars. Tony took to Instagram during the Oscars. He was feeling sprightly. And what did you say?
So there's this picture of, it's like congratulating Frankenstein for the win for Best Hair and Makeup. And I made a comment on the Fangoria page that was like, I understand the makeup because it's sort of like a David Bowie meets Leatherface, but the hair, it's just like tousled bedhead.
He was like, the hair wasn't even combed.
And then I got all these negative comments and people saying that you're not funny or like you don't understand. I think the thing is like I was just being silly, and then I doubled down on it, and then I was like, oh, now I'm like in a battle with an online commenters. And so I was like, okay, I'm just going to drop it.
And of course, he was the first comment on the Fangoria post. I'm like, Tony.
No, I don't know if it was the first comment. There were comments there before.
Were there?
Yeah, it wasn't the first comment.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, that's clearly not how I feel. I feel like this movie is very well deserved of Best Hair and Makeup. Not just Frankenstein's tousled long hair, but, you know, Mia Goth.
Yes.
It was definitely a well-deserved win.
Can't be angry at online comments.
Can't read into like sarcasm.
You can't read into someone feeling silly, having eaten too much pizza, watching past his bedtime.
Oh, well, I learned my lesson. Am I voting on this one or are you
You're
voting
on this
one?
one.
Okay. Best Hair and Makeup. Okay, that one's...
The nominees are Queens of the Dead, Weapons, Housemaid, or Companion.
Ooh, okay. Very great options. I'm obviously going for Weapons because of Aunt Gladys's hair and makeup.
Yes.
Queens of the Dead also had that wonderful blue shimmery zombie look.
I actually really liked the shimmery blue zombie. I feel like it really honored her father's Dawn of the Dead blue zombie faces, but spiced it up.
Yeah, and also like all of the drag style that was in there. Yes, that was also amazing. Weapons, the Aunt Gladys hair and makeup is now iconic, even though it just came out last year. And that's what I'm giving it to.
That's a good choice. I think that's great. I do think I saw a lot of Halloween costumes this past year of Aunt Gladys. And so that's kind of my marker or my benchmark to see what is going to become iconic. How many costumes do you get of that year?
We have our next category, which is for practical, special, or visual effects. We are combining all of those categories into the effects. So it's not just practical effects and visual effects. We just lump them all into one.
Because who are we? We're not experts in these fields. I can't really tell what's always visual versus practical. Tony is probably better at that.
Yeah. I mean, as horror fans, you're always hoping for practical effects. And I think that many modern horror movies are leaning in towards practical effects.
But
then they just fix them up with the VFX, right?
Yeah. And because I do love creature features, I'm not going to balk at something that is using visual effects more so than practical effects.
Yeah, you watch all the shark movies.
I love the shark movies, and I will accept their visual effects.
Yeah, Meth Gator and all that sort of
Fun.
stuff. So Sinners was nominated for visual effects.
Do you want to know what actually won? Avatar.
I mean, you can't really go up against Avatar. I feel like that's the whole purpose of that movie is just visual effects. Anyways, your nominees for practical, special / visual effects are Final Destination, Bloodlines, The Ugly Stepsister, Bring Her Back, Together, Jimmy and Stiggs, Wolfman, or Predator Badlands.
Okay. I do just want to mention Wolfman because I did really enjoy the Wolfman daddy vision throughout the movie. I thought it was so cleverly used. Bring Her Back had some really good practical effect, like gross out scenes. Ugly Stepsister, of course, had some really great elements as well.
Yeah.
But it's going to go to Final Destination Bloodlines.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of people in the horror community cite that MRI, that CAT scan scene as like one of their favorite kills of the year.
And the garbage truck scene was great. The opener, when they're in like, I don't know, the CN Tower or the Stratosphere, dancing away to shout.
That crack in the glass, expertly executed. That giant crack that nobody saw.
That dumb little penny falling down.
The CGI penny.
The CGI penny. It really goes to the CGI penny.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, Final Destination is a movie that really relies on these effects because it's basically just like
it's all effects.
A movie that is just giving you kill after kill.
Regardless on how you feel or I feel about the idea of trying to escape death, you do go to enjoy the effects and the kills.
It's interesting that Jimmy and Stiggs got a nomination because that's essentially like alien puppets.
It's alien puppets. However, Joe Bagos really doubled down on those fake practical alien puppets.
So that goes to show it doesn't matter what your budget is. We appreciate the effort.
It. Yes.
Yeah, the vision, the effort. It's more than just the amount of money that you have. Also wanted to shout out Together because that actually had a lot of practical effects where Alison Brie and Dave Franco had to...
Yeah, they were merging or not merging, trying not to merge.
Yeah. They were actually joined together with practical effect makeup with like skin that connected them and all of that sort of stuff. So they had to sit in the chair together.
And good thing they're a real life couple.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Would you together with me for like hours, days?
Sure, yeah. It'll get real sweaty and stinky.
Why'd you say sure? Like
sure. Sure, yeah, whatever.
Sure, yeah, whatever. Moving on.
Yes, of course I would, because I would say it would get really sweaty and stinky, but you know, that's the sacrifices that married couples make for each other, right?
Why does it have to be stinky?
I don't know. I'm imagining that it's like this for like a couple of weeks.
Weeks? Okay, I don't think. Moving on to Best Cinematography. This year, Sinners and Frankenstein were both nominated for cinematography. And as we mentioned before, Sinners won. Autumn Durald Arkpa, she won for cinematography. But our nominees are for Presence, 28 Years Later, Weapons, Jimmy and Stiggs, and The Long Walk.
Presence, you have that floating ghost vision. 28 years later, Danny Boyle decided he wanted to shoot most of the film on an iPhone, but his iPhone rig was like 30 iPhones or something and did that bullet time thing. A lot of people actually didn't like that effect.
I liked it.
I thought it was really cool.
Made me really tense.
Weapons, just like beautiful cinematography, really cool shots, a very visual movie. Jimmy and Stiggs, this is like a run and gun cinematography, get it done, scrappy,
well, because
all of that.
The director and actor is also the cinematographer.
Yeah. Also shot on film, so that's definitely a plus. And then The Long Walk, we were talking about this, and it's a movie that had to be shot while moving the entire time.
Moving backwards.
So you can imagine like the challenges of that, even just for, I don't know, like continuity and all of that sort of stuff.
Right. David Johnson, who was also an Alien Romulus from last year, he said that they walked about 36 or so miles a day at times.
Wow,
or up to 36 miles a day.
So that sounds like endurance.
Right. So if you think about the DP, the cinematographer, having to also walk that same amount, but with all this heavy equipment and backwards.
Man, this is actually a pretty tough choice.
Yeah.
I'm between two, and I think I want to give it to 28 years later for Danny Boyle's iPhone rig. If you get a chance to search for Danny Boyle's iPhone rig, just like do an internet search, and you can see it was pretty intense. And Danny Boyle is known for sort of pushing the boundaries with shooting on cheap cameras. Like he did that in 28 Days Later, where he was shooting with consumer cameras and he was like hiding in bushes and getting all these different angles and stuff. In this one, he had that giant iPhone rig. Some of the iPhone footage had like a certain quality to it that made it look really washed out. For some people, maybe that took them out of the film, but for me, that adds like a charm or a character to the film.
Yeah, nice
I was
choice.
very close to giving it to Joe Begos and Jimmy and Stiggs because I
Really?
love a scrappy filmmaker.
Yeah. Okay. I probably would have gone for Presence because I feel like the cinematography in that film was a character. It was kind of the main character. So every shot had to be like this POV of this entity walking through this house, observing this family. And you really did feel like this could have been cognizant being moving and gliding through the house.
Our next category is for best art direction / production design.
Even though Tony's probably better at choosing for this one because he has done production design as a career and I have not, but I can still appreciate it. So I get to choose.
I mean, honestly, like it's really hard to choose because do you go for like the biggest, the most, or do you go for the most impactful, or do you go for the most unique? There's a lot of factors that go into it. So it can go in a lot of different ways. For art direction and production design this year at the Oscars, we had Sinners that was nominated and Frankenstein, which actually got the win. So we nominated Jimmy and Stiggs, The Ugly Stepsister, Dust Bunny, Him, The Shrouds, and So Torn.
Little indie flick, So Torn. Lots of string. Very, very meticulously placed. Tony, I know you said that you really liked The Shrouds production design. I can't remember it. So
what I liked about The Shrouds, and this is something that David Cronenberg always does in his movies, is that the objects play a central role. They're almost like art pieces in themselves. So for the shrouds, it was those the shrouds. They look like cocoons that were coated in charcoal.
And then Dust Bunny, it had like this whole grand apartment that was being torn apart by the imaginary Dust Bunny. It was hard to kind of tell for me though what was the set and what was more visual effects.
Yeah, I think this one used a lot of visual effects.
Yeah. Ugly Stepsister, I think, was very detailed. Every single room in that house was highly produced. Even the room where Cinderella's dad is dead and decaying, that room was very detailed.
Yeah.
With the little silkworms kind of like prancing around or wiggling around, and the decay of the fruit. I think he was on like their old dinner table that was kind of like as is. Jimmy and Stiggs, yeah, I know you like the run and gun, and I think it's impressive that Joe Begos destroyed his apartment for 4 years.
The things you can do inside of an apartment with a little bit of neon paint.
Right. And if you're just willing to sacrifice your deposit, the things you can do over the course of 4 years. But ultimately, I mean, no surprise probably to you, I'm going to give it to Ugly Stepsister. I do feel like everything in this film was so well thought out and detailed. So that is my choice.
All right. You forgot to mention Him.
Oops. Sorry, I didn't choose it.
That's okay.
But there were some really great sets in Him as well. Like when they're in their weird satanic rave / cult lounge. I don't know. The lighting was also really good.
All right. Ugly Stepsister, another win. I feel like it's going to be a strong year for The Ugly Stepsister.
Yeah. And 28 years later, which makes sense because that was both of our top movies of last year. Tony, you get to choose for best score. The winner at the Oscars this year was Sinners. Ludwig Göransson won for his score of Sinners. Well deserved. But we have nominated 28 years later, Ugly Stepsister, Weapons, Bring Her Back, and Companion.
Ooh, okay, yes.
And I just want to mention Companion's score had some vocal stylings from Sophie Thatcher, the lead actress.
Yeah, so Companion's score was sort of like a more 70s folk kind of inspired.
Very
like that,
dreamy.
Yeah, dreamy folk singer kind of thing. Bring Her Back had more of like a classic score.
It was very ominous. I do remember for Weapons, it did seem very character driven. You heard like the bell that Amy Madigan's character would use. When you had James, the meth head character, or the man who was probably unhoused and using a lot of drugs. When we were seeing his scenes, they were very amped up with drum beats to kind of like show like the panic of his character.
Yeah, a lot of detail in that score. Ugly Stepsister, the score had more of this sort of like whimsical fantasy synth kind of vibe to it. And then we have the 28 Years Later score, which was sort of like a full album made by young fathers that went along with the different segments, like kind of followed the journey of
Spike's journey.
Yeah, of the movie. So I'm going to give my best score award to 28 Years Later, because that is the score that I actually would listen to just separately from the movie. And I did. It was on my list of most listened to album of the year.
It was on mine too, so I would pick that as well. I would also listen to the Ugly Stepsister score again, but I think I would also choose 28 Years Later, Young Fathers.
Moving right along to the best original song. And this one we had a lot of fun with.
We did. And Sinners was nominated this year for I Lied to You during that really iconic Music Through Time scene. It did not win. K-pop Demon Hunters did, however, for Golden.
I feel like that could have been a snub as well.
You think so? I don't think so, because I feel like K-pop Demon Hunters, despite what all the youth think now, because now it's kind of been overplayed, they were all super into it. Kids of all ages were singing it. And I have a job where I have to listen to a lot of kids and their preferences quite often. And I do concur that kids of all ages loved that freaking song Golden. So I don't think it was a snub.
I'm just biased towards horror movies. I think that's the thing.
I mean, K-pop Demon Hunters, it's like 3 demon hunters slaying demons.
That's true. It's still in the genre.
It is still in the genre.
All right. The nominees for Best Original Song go to Moretti from Opus with the song Dina Simone.
Catchy.
Pals by Young Fathers from 28 Years Later. Pale Pale Moon by Jamie Lawson.
Who I think is the actress that played Pearl.
From Sinners. Yeah, that was really cool. And then Paradise Lost by lead actress and singer Lex Helgerson Rides Again from Happy Ending.
Little indie film.
A little indie film, yes. All right.
Honestly, despite what people say about Opus, Moretti, played by John Malkovich, had a whole album. And before we really fine-tuned our nominees, there were 3 different Moretti songs nominated. It was basically 3 Moretti songs and then 1 Young Father song. But I have since curtailed the Moretti nominations. Dina Simone was the most catchy. Pals by Young Fathers, that was like the button. It played at the very end of 28 Years Later and during the credits. And it just left me with this feeling of feeling good having watched a really great film. It was a really cathartic song. Pale Pale Moon by Jamie Lawson. I just loved that she would do this like scream and sing throughout the song. It was really fun. And her singing it in the juke joint, I think really set the tone of this fun camaraderie, family, enjoying one another's company. Paradise Lost, it was a really great song. I think it also played during the credits of Happy Ending, a nice little indie film from Jennifer Wolfe that we got to see this year. Okay, I'm going to give it to Pals from Young Fathers because that's the one that I will listen to again. I think they all deserve a spot on this list, but Pals from Young Fathers from 28 Years Later is getting my award.
Lovely. I would have picked the same thing, although any of the nominations in here would have been amazing as well.
Yeah, it's honestly hard for me to choose a second place because I do think that the song Dina Simone, it kind of opened up Opus and you're like, okay, we're getting a little pop icon in John Malkovich, aka Moretti. If you look for Moretti on Spotify, you can find him and it's just John Malkovich's face.
I mean, it's a little tongue in cheek and kind of making fun of being a pop star. So, and you also have to like John Malkovich. So there's like 3 factors to that, to being able to enjoy that song. And if you don't like any of those things, you're going to be like, what is this?
He does come across as like a Mick Jagger kind of character trying to transcend time and stay relevant throughout the decades. And they do have several songs of his where it's like, this is Moretti from the 70s and this is Moretti from the 60s and this is Moretti trying to be relevant in the 2020s. It was fun. I say, give it a watch. Don't hate on it too much. The next category is for Best Adapted or Scene Song. This is where a certain song that is not an original song fit really well within the movie. Maybe it was reprised throughout the movie, or maybe it just had one really good snappy scene. We have 5 nominees, and then we'll go over some honorable mentions because there are a lot of great scene songs this year.
We love sing songs.
Okay, so first nominee, we have Rocky Road to Dublin, performed by, I believe, Jack O'Connell and the cast of Sinners from Sinners. And that was a really great scene where Jack O'Connell is singing out in the field beyond the juke joint with all of his newly made vampire friends. And they're all collectively singing this Irish song. We have Shout from the opening of Final Destination Bloodlines, written by the Isley Brothers, but performed by the performers within the, CN Tower, Natasha Burnett and Garfield Wilson.
Always a great wedding song.
With that great wedding song. Just make sure you're not listening to it while dancing on a plate of glass.
With an obvious crack in it.
With an obvious crack because you're just stomping your little heart out, making the crack bigger. We have In the Hall of the Mountain King from the, I think it's a play, Peer Gynt, originally composed by Edvard Grieg from The Ugly Stepsister. That to me was a really well choreographed scene where our main character Elvira is feeling nauseous and she's being forced to dance and spin and see all these horrible sights around her, like gross shrimp and fish and silkworms, and her nemesis Cinderella dancing with who she thinks is her true love.
That was an amazing scene.
It was a great scene. It's like that little dun 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 dun, and it just ramps up in intensity as she gets more nauseous. We have Evie by Stevie Wright, set to the scene of Jai Courtney dancing in his nice little silk robe, which was my Halloween costume this year.
Dancing in his skivvies.
Dancing in his skivvies, his red undies and blue silk robe in the movie Dangerous Animals, looking like a true psychopath. And lastly, we have Dedicated to the One I Love by the Mamas and the Papas from the movie Vicious. And I don't know if you remember, but in our episode for Gonjiam Haunted Asylum, I mentioned there was a movie we watched this year late at night where you were falling asleep and I was like, you got to wake up, we're going to turn it off, better wake up. This was the movie.
Oh, that's why I don't remember this song.
That's why you don't remember, but it did play throughout the movie. And I do kind of feel like the Mamas and the Papas have a quality that I just find inherently creepy. Maybe it's the time period in which that music was made. Maybe it kind of reminds me of the Manson family.
Yeah, it's like that druggy era, helter-skelter era of the 60s,
and
the
it's
dark
just
hippies.
like a group or a clan or a cult of people singing in unison. I find that creepy. And that song was used very well in the movie Vicious, starring Dakota Fanning. And that was a movie I did find very creepy. And I forgot about it until this morning. So I really quickly added it to the list. So I apologize for not adding it into more categories. But I did want to make mention of that movie as being, for me, one of my more creepy viewing experiences of the year.
And I apologize for falling asleep during that movie.
He just falls asleep, as mentioned before, like during the 30-minute mark of movies or the 1 hour mark of movies, he's done.
We need a less comfortable couch, maybe.
We do. And maybe watch these movies earlier. Okay. But ultimately, this is hard because all of these were so good in their own way.
I get to choose, right?
Oh, you do? You're lucky because I couldn't choose. So go ahead.
I get to choose this category. Mm-hmm. I'm going with Rocky Road to Dublin, performed by Jack O'Connell and the cast of Sinners. That is a scene that I think will stick with me for a long time. It's got the glowing eyes and the fangs are out and everyone's having a great time. I really enjoyed that scene.
That is a good choice. And I do really think that song and that scene really makes that moment creepier in the film because, again, like singing in unison is just scary. Because is it camaraderie or does it become more like a cult?
That was an amazing scene. I would like to mention some honorable mentions.
Yes.
That was a weird thing to say.
Or mention some things honorably.
So we have To Become One by the Spice Girls, which I'm surprised this didn't make the top because that was like one of the best moments of Together.
The reason why I did not put it in the top is because it was too on the nose for me. It was funny, but I'm just like, really, her favorite song is To Become One from the Spice Girls?
Well, there was a visceral reaction in the theater when that came on. I don't know if visceral is the right word, but there was a strong reaction in the theater when they played that song and everyone kind of did one of those
Well, I didn't. I thought it was a bit silly. It was a good moment.
Yeah.
But the song itself, I I don't know how I feel.
The song's amazing. There's I'm Not a Boy by Book of Love from Companion, which is just a cool song. It did kind of set the mood of like, oh yeah, we're on vacation. We're having a great time out here in this lake house.
And I think it also is symbolic in like the whole Pinocchio aspect where it's like, Pinocchio is not a real boy. Iris is not a real human. But she's also not a man in this world that's very male dominated. So it was a bit layered, and it did come up again at the end of the movie. And it was actually one of my highest played songs of last year.
Yeah, it's a good song. Next, we have Sex and Violence by The Exploited from the fight scene near the end of Bone Lake. Sex and Violence is like such a good song. It should be used in more movies. I remember it from the title screen of SLC Punk.
Oh.
Which I think was the perfect use of that song. This one, it made sense for the movie, but I can see why it didn't make it into the top 5. I don't know. It didn't seem as well coordinated as it could have been.
And that's my thought on it, is that like, it could have been so good, but it just had some hesitations during the fight scene that needed to be like ramped up a little bit more.
Yeah, but also excellent choice. And then we have Heartbreaker by Pat Benatar from Night of the Reaper, which I haven't seen, but you spoke highly of this. You did show me the scene, and it's just like this young babysitter dancing her heart out to the song.
Yeah.
And doing all the things that 90s kids do, like drink Coke and eat pizza and sneak a cigarette. Is that what 90s kids did?
That's what 90s kids did. And then quickly panic and clean up because you hear the garage door opening. I always did that.
Very fun scene. And then we have The Sewing Machine by Betty Hutton from So Torn. And that was a big scene where she's sort of like secretly plotting with her strings to get the bad guy, and she's thrashing around and she's making a scene.
She's making a scene and she's thrashing around with her sewing machine string.
Just looks fun.
It does look fun. And that movie, again, does play kind of like with Vicious. It plays throughout the movie, but it really plays emphatically during this climactic scene.
Yeah. Where'd you get string that strong?
You have to live in a whimsical movie world.
The next category is for Best Supporting Performance. And in this category, we actually had 2 Oscar nominations. One for Annie, played by Wunmi Mosaku from Sinners. And one also from Sinners, Delta Slim, played by Delroy Lindo, who we mentioned that was probably the biggest snub of the Oscars. Yeah. For our award, we have nominated Shepard, played by Will Poulter in Death of a Unicorn. James, a.k.a. Meth Head Druggy, played by Austin Abrams from Weapons. Rebecca, a.k.a. Stepmother, played by Anne Daltorp from The Ugly Stepsister. And then we have Young Hal / Young Bill, played by Christian Convery from The Monkey. And lastly, we have Dr. Kelson, played by Ralph Fiennes from 28 Years Later.
This is a great category. I do love all of these performances. Yeah, Michael B. Jordan just won for his dual role, so why not nominate Christian Convery for his dual role in The Monkey? I love this actor so much. I thought he was the standout performance from Cocaine Bear. He's that young blonde boy who's like hiding up a tree. He's so funny. And I actually didn't realize that he was playing both roles until I looked it up on IMDb later on. I thought they actually did have 2 different actors because he did such a great job playing the more meek and mild version of Bill, but also playing the more asshole, jerky version of Bill. And he's interacting with himself constantly, and he did it so seamlessly. I thought they were 2 different kids. The stepmother from The Ugly Stepsister, I think she did a great job of portraying this woman who's hardened, who just knows what needs to be done in this world to survive. And that scene at the end, we think we're going to get this like coddling stepmother moment where her daughter's there without toes. And she's like, oh, my darling, you did the wrong foot. Let me help you. Oh, she's so good. And then Austin Abrams as our person who does a lot of drugs in a tent somewhere in the wilderness. This guy did such a great job. Spot on of just like being like tweaking and trying to... I don't know. I just really enjoyed his performance so much. And Will Poulter as Shepard in Death of a Unicorn. This movie had some flaws, but I think everyone could agree that Will Poulter as Shepard stole the show. He had so many good lines throughout the movie. I wish I could remember them.
One was like Gloss's Gauche. He was like, they were printing out a poster or
He's
something
like,
that.
but Matt, please, because Gloss is gauche. So good. Okay, I think I'm going to give it to Austin Abrams from Weapons.
Oh, wow.
I was so close to giving it to Will Poulter, but I think Austin Abrams had a performance that seemed very difficult and exhausting, and it's different than what I've seen him in. I remember him as kind of like the uppity teenager from Walking Dead.
Yeah, we hated that character.
We hated his character. Yeah. And in this, like, man, I didn't even recognize him. I think that's a good sign of someone getting really immersed in their character.
Yeah.
So honorable mentions, we have Monica from Heart Eyes, played by Gigi Zimbardo, another one of those great supporting characters that's just like funny and you want to see more of her. We have Patrick from Companion, played by Lucas Gage. He does have quite a character arc throughout the movie, and he actually did, I think, get nominated during our Valentine's Day episode for one part of Best Romantic Couple.
Yeah, he plays a doughy-eyed lover boy very
He's
well.
so doughy-eyed, and he can also play sinister very well as well. We have Isla from 28 Years Later, played by Jodie Comer. I just love this actress. I think she's amazing and is excellent in whatever she does. Miss Novak. I think her name in the movie is actually Jennifer Novak, but in IMDb it says Karen Novak from Traumatica, played by Susan Gale Watts. She's a character that I also think stole the show. She has this really great, sneaky, waspy-like delivery of her lines where she's just like, you're nervous, aren't you? You're scared, but she's just a reporter, so there's no reason to be afraid of her. And then we have the character of Victoria from Happy Ending, played by Zoe Rose Kurtzy. She has another wonderful character arc where she at first starts as this unassuming sex worker, and then she snaps, and boy, does she snap, and it's so much fun when she does. Moving on to lead protagonist. This year, Michael B. Jordan was not snubbed from Sinners. He won an Oscar for Best Performance for his roles as Smoke and Stack, and well-deserved. But our nominees are Danica from I Know What You Did Last Summer, played by Madeline Klein, Zephyr from Dangerous Animals, played by Hassie Harrison, Maya from Strangers Chapter 2, played by Madeline Pesh, Spike from 28 Years Later, played by Alfie Williams, and Andy from Bring Her Back, played by Billy Barrett.
I just love that you added Strangers Chapter 2.
I think Maya did an excellent job with very little dialogue, and I just love her performance as she's fighting a boar.
Yes, to fight a CGI
boar.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
All right, this is a tough one for me. These are all great performances. I didn't love I Know What You Did Last Summer, so I've kind of put that one out of my memory.
I know, but even if you don't love it, I just feel like the character of Danica did so much. You should have hated her character, but she was so likable.
Hassie Harrison thought she did a fantastic job as being the strong, captured person who is under the torment of
Jai Courtney's Tucker.
Yeah, Tucker.
She's an excellent final girl. She's one of those final girls that fights tooth and nail and thumb and does everything that you hope that you would do in that situation.
Spike, played by the young Alfie Williams, was also really good.
He really did carry the film, and for such a young actor to have that responsibility, he did go through quite a character arc as well as just being this kind of young, innocent, not wanting to do these things that his father does so easily, but then having to come to terms with it and do what he can to save his mother.
Yeah. And then we have Andy, played by Billy Barrett from Bring Her Back, as the protective older brother and, really going through a lot of internal struggles feeling guilt for the way he's like treated his sister, but also like needing to be this sort of like parental figure as well.
And he's only 17 at the time of this film. And he does have to grow up too soon and be this parental figure for his sister, who also has needs. And he is so guilt-ridden of something that he did when he was 8 years old.
Yeah. So that's a pretty tough role. This is really tough. I'm going to go with Hassie Harrison, whose character is Zephyr from Dangerous Animals. She is a fantastic final girl. She is strong. She kicks ass. Like you said, fights tooth and nail.
Anthem.
I forgot about that. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. Congratulations, Hassie Harrison.
Well deserved.
We have some honorable mentions here as well. We have Elvira, played by Lyra Mirin from The Ugly Stepsister. We have Peter and Raymond, played by David Johnson and Cooper Hoffman from The Long Walk. So that's sort of like a dual nomination.
The reason why I didn't put them up there is because we already gave them an award during our Valentine's Day episode.
Gotcha.
So check that one out.
So they didn't actually get snubbed.
They
did get an award.
We just want you to know that they already have an award. So watch the Valentine's episode to find out
those were amazing performances as well. Abigail, played by Rebecca Kennedy from Traumatica. Also, fantastic and really creepy performance, playing this like possessed demon character.
Brilliant. She really oscillates between protagonist and villain throughout her time in the film.
Yeah. Iris, played by Sophie Thatcher in Companion. She learned German for the role.
She learned German.
One of the best scenes.
Such a good scene.
Thea and Tessa, played by Elle Fanning. So another dual role from Predator
That was big this year.
And Elle Fanning is always great.
She was so lovable as Thea and then so sinister as Tessa.
And Sage, played by Maddie Hassan from Bone Lake.
I feel like she also was an excellent final girl.
Yes. So really, all of these nominations are winners in our heart, but the actual winner is going to Hassie Harrison.
Yes. And Leah Mirin's performance as Elvira in The Ugly Stepsister is not in the main portion of this list because she might come up again later on.
Yeah, wouldn't you? Oh, wait. Oh, I see.
She's going to come up again later on in our award ceremony.
Got you.
Yes.
Got you. The next award, we have our best non-spoilery villain. So it's okay if you don't know who the villain is. It's not like a big giallo reveal.
It's not the reveal.
It's like
I'm trying to keep the spoilery villains out of this list.
Okay, so we have some honorable mentions as well. But this year at the Oscars, one of the biggest wins for the horror community, Aunt Gladys, played by Amy Madigan, was the winner.
Yeah, and it's quite big to win something for a movie that is only nominated once at the Oscars. I think I heard that it's only happened 3 times.
Really?
So if a movie's only nominated one time, typically that person won't win the Oscar. But Amy Madigan's performance as Aunt Gladys was so stand out that you had to vote for her.
That is slightly spoilery, but I feel like at this point, everyone kind of knows it. Because I remember when that movie came out, I was trying to actively avoid social media because I didn't want any spoils. And then after I watched it, then I noticed the first thing that people were posting was that image of Aunt Gladys. And I was if I would have seen that beforehand, I would have been like, that's a huge spoiler.
Huge. But the fact that she's won an Oscar now, I'm sure everyone knows that role.
Yes. Okay, so the category for best non-spoilery villain, the nominees are Rennie, played by Zachary Ray Sherman from A Desert, Remick, played by Jack O'Connell from Sinners, Bruce Tucker, played by Jai Courtney from Dangerous Animals, Laura, played by Sally Hawkins from Bring Her Back, Samson, played by Lewis Perry from 28 Years Later, so apologize if I mispronounced that. So Aleece, what is getting your award for best non-spoilery villain?
So many good villains this year.
This is a tough list right here.
Yes, I mean, Samson took the world by storm with his all-out, member. Just confidently stomping and running and ripping your head, with all of your
It was a rageful performance.
Very rageful. Laura, played by Sally Hawkins, oh my gosh, masterful. You just really want to like her. And I toyed with putting her on this list because I'm just like, is it a spoiler to say she's the villain? No, but she's pretty obviously doing nefarious things throughout the film. You just really hope that she's not a villain, but she is. Bruce Tucker, played by Jai Courtney, loved his little dance, loved his villain. Rennie, played by Zachary Ray Sherman in A Desert, he does have this like haunting, vacant-eyed quality that just seems so animalistic throughout the movie. But ultimately, I'm giving it to Jack O'Connell as Remick from Sinners because, again, he's so charming. You want to like him. And you get the feeling that he's not overtly doing what he does because he's a racist. He actually really loves the community that he's trying to infiltrate, but he just loves it too much to the point of wanting to take them over.
Right. Which could be more evil than...
so layered and creepy.
Yeah. You could read that as like the extreme version of evil. It's like the devil is your friend kind of thing.
Right.
Like trying to manipulate. He's like a master manipulator.
Yep. I'm giving it to Jack O'Connell from Sinners.
Yes. Amazing. I'm actually surprised that Jack O'Connell wasn't nominated for at the actual Oscars.
I do feel like that's a bit of a snub. Right. To not nominate him for supporting actor.
Yeah.
Yet to nominate, I'm sorry, Benicio del Toro, you're amazing, but you already have an Oscar and you were just kind of playing Benicio del Toro. And maybe was Sean Penn too? I don't know, but I really do think that Jack O'Connell should have been nominated.
I kind of feel like Jack O'Connell is going to surge and have some roles where he will be nominated for an Oscar award.
Yeah, this is just the onset.
Yeah, because he's blowing up. Yeah, for sure.
And our honorable mentions, we have The Stranger, aka Little Girl Satan, played by Isla Johnston from The Carpenter's Son. She's this young, creepy little ethereal, but like evil ethereal girl in The Carpenter's Son. We have John Reed, played by Sean O'Brien from Traumatica, the creepy dad that
Who's not afraid to eat a foot.
He's not afraid to eat your toes. So creepy. And we saw the behind the scenes footage of that. Great. Mr. Shiny, played by Jesse J. Clarkson from Strange Harvest. And we have Moretti.
Moretti shows up again.
He gets to show up again, played by John Malkovich from Opus.
He's basically just playing himself. He's basically just John Malkovich in every movie
Diva John Malkovich. Yes. And we have the lovable Steamboat Willie, played by David Howard Thornton from Screamboat.
Yeah. What can't David Howard Thornton do?
I know. And he also might have received a nomination from our Valentine's Day episode as well. Moving on to Spleen Stealers, aka Scene Stealers. Characters that had one or two scenes, but they really stole the show and were very impactful. We have 6 in this category. We have the rookie priest, played by Nico Del Rio in The Monkey.
An amazing moment. And one that was in the trailer, and then you would think that it would have been ruined by the trailer.
It wasn't.
It wasn't. It was
still fun.
Still funny in the actual movie.
And you're like, can he be my priest? We have the iconic Helen Shivers, as referenced by my shirt here, made by Hometown Weirdo. So Helen Shivers, played by Sarah Michelle Gellar from I Know What You Did Last Summer. We have Carla. This might be a spoiler. Sorry if it is. But Carla, played by Brandy Knowles, reprises her role in I Know What You Did Last Summer. Fun. We have Ice Cube, played by Ice Cube from Anaconda. We also have Mrs. Garrity, who plays Cooper Hoffman's mother in The Long Walk, performed by Judy Greer. And we have William John Bloodworth, played by Tony Todd from Final Destination Bloodlines.
You're missing the cameo by Jennifer Lopez at the end of Anaconda.
Yeah, but I didn't really enjoy that cameo. I was good on Ice Cube. I mean, I Know What You Did
You're right.
Last
Ice
Summer.
Cube came out and he was just ready to go.
He was ready to go. And he's like, JLo's going to be fine. She's from the block. But I don't know about Eric Stoltz. He's probably eaten. I thought that was so funny. But the reason why Carla gets a nod is because when she came out, I was so excited. I was like hoping that she was going to show up throughout the movie. And when she did, during the credits, misused, I'm sorry, but I was very excited. So.
Yeah. So I enjoyed all of these spleen steals, and I'm torn here because there's like a really funny one, there's like a really heartfelt one, and then there's like a really sort of like the surprise ones. But I think I am going to give my spleen stealer award to William John Bloodworth, played by Tony Todd in his final role before he passed in Final Destination Bloodlines.
Yeah.
And it was not only an impactful moment, but it was also like just a really nice final moment on film for Tony Todd.
Yeah, for us as fans to watch this role, it was very moving and touching. And just the words that he's saying as this character, you also get the feeling that he's saying them to us as horror fans as Tony Todd. Yeah.
So I really appreciated that. One of my favorite moments of that movie. Final Destination was just really fun. A lot of people really, really liked it. I didn't get into it that much, but I did appreciate how fun it was.
It was very fun.
Yeah.
I think I would have gone for that one as well. But also, I just want to say Judy Greer in The Long Walk. She has 2 scenes in the movie, and they're both just like, she might have 3, but I stuck her in there because I'm just like, oh, the scenes that she had were so impactful. Like, there's a moment in her last scene where she shows up towards the end of the long walk on their journey when there's just a few of them left walking. Cooper Hoffman's character sees his mom and starts walking toward her, and she panics because she's like, oh my goodness, if you do this, you are done. You're dead right in front of me. And the way that she emotes this panic and this emotion, it was just like chills throughout the theater during that moment.
That's sort of the feeling of that whole movie.
It's
a very tense movie.
It's a tense and dread feeling movie.
Yeah. Moving along to our next category, we have the award for Best Ensemble. And this year at the Oscars, Sinners was nominated for Best Ensemble. The award ultimately went to
One Battle
After Another.
And so Sinners was not nominated for Best Ensemble. They're nominated for Best Casting, but we kind of feel like it's
essentially the same thing. Yeah, essentially
Yeah.
the same thing.
I know. I think the Golden Globes does Best Ensemble, or maybe the Emmys does. And I like that category. So Oscar does Best Casting because they're the person behind the ensemble, but we're just going to call it Best Ensemble.
Yeah. And the nominees for Best Ensemble are Weapons, Final Destination Bloodlines, The Ugly Stepsister, Hell of a Summer, Marshmallow, and Queens of the Dead.
There are some really good ensembles here, and Weapons, I think, really highlights the ensemble, and it gives each of them their own moment, which is fun, and you don't often get that. Final Destination Bloodlines, yes, had some great characters. The guy Eric with all the piercings and the tattoos, he's a lot of fun. He actually ends up being more enjoyable than I thought he would be. But also, I think it's Bobby, who's his cousin or brother. He's also very lovable and likable. Ugly Stepsister has just a great cast all around. Hell of a Summer. It was one of those movies that I enjoyed. I didn't love the reveal so much, but all of the characters and the writing was pretty solid. Marshmallow has a lot of young actors and young actors that you really like. And I think that's really hard to do. Queens of the Dead, everybody in that movie is so much fun in their own way. And you really like all of them as a unit. You don't want anything to happen to them. And even when some of them do turn into zombies, you still like them. And they keep some of them around in like go-go dancer cages. And so that's fun too. The ensemble, this is hard. I'm going to give it to Queens of the Dead.
Queens of the Dead. Wonderful.
Yeah.
We had, what was it? Luscious. What was the character's name?
Y'all never call me Scrumptious.
Scrumptious, yeah.
Scrumptious was so much fun. They're all good characters.
What a fun movie, yeah.
And Katie O'Brien has such a great naturalistic performance for this bizarre scenario. I love Katie O'Brien. Moving on to Best Creature or Monster. We have Jacob Elordi as Frankenstein's creature, nominated for Frankenstein this year. He did not win, but he was nominated. Our nominations are Anaconda from Anaconda, Dust Bunny from Dust Bunny, Bambi from Bambi the Reckoning, the Unicorns from Death of a Unicorn, Blake, aka Daddy Wolfman from Wolfman, played by Christopher Abbott, and Predator from Predator Badlands.
Wait, which Predator?
Okay, so I think the main Predator's name is Deck.
Like you feel for the Predator?
Yeah, like he had a brother that sacrificed his life for him, and his dad who's straight up evil and like ready to kill him because he's the runt of the Predators or the Yachas.
It's not like in the old school movie where the Predator's just this like super villain who has all the tools and the camouflage.
No, he does try to be very stoic and go about on his journey to go kill the Kalisk or something so that he can go back to his Yacha people and be like, I have the head of the Kalisk, and make his dad proud. So yeah, he is very layered and has a lot of, we have a lot of empathy for him.
Yeah. And then let's see, Dad turning into wolf with that amazing wolf vision.
Yes, amazing wolf vision. And he does have an awesome battle scene towards the end where he's fighting another wolf man. Fun.
No spoilers.
No spoilers. Won't say who it is.
We have the crafty unicorns that stole our hearts for just being cute and also vicious.
Cute and vicious and helpful.
Kind of, and also like kind of bad CGI.
Bad CGI.
But that's okay.
Yes.
We're okay with bad CGI.
We are.
Bambi, who kind of takes on a more of a Jurassic Park-esque monster, like a velociraptor type Bambi.
Yeah, but very maternal or paternal. Is Bambi supposed to be the mother or a father?
Bambi, I thought, was the child.
Bambi in the original cartoon is like a young boy deer that turns into a buck.
Dust Bunny. The Dust Bunny was another cute and vicious character.
Cute and vicious.
The Anaconda in the remake of Anaconda, or not really remake, but the
reboot?
Like a reboot. Kind of people making Anaconda.
Yeah, a meta reboot.
Another big giant CGI snake. I'm going to give this award to Bambi from Bambi the Reckoning.
Yes.
Which was a surprisingly amazing
and emotional.
Foovie? I just said foovie. Film movie.
Check it out on Freevee.
Film movie.
Yeah, it was a really enjoyable film movie and more emotional than I thought it would be. So,
yes.
Could have a bit of a tearjerker ending, guys.
Love it, yeah.
True to the original Bambi.
All right, our next award is the Good Buddy Gallbladder Award. You can't live without this Good Buddy, but they offer you all the support in the world.
You can live without it because it's just your gallbladder, but it offers more support.
Okay, I got you. I misread your thing there. Okay, the nominees for Good Buddy Gallbladder go to Good Boy, who was played by Indy in the movie Good Boy, Dolores, the baby Achelops dino in Jurassic World Rebirth.
So cute.
The unicorns in Death of a Unicorn, Bud and Snake from Predator Badlands, the boar from Strangers Chapter 2, and the tapeworm from Ugly Stepsister.
Yeah. She just loved that little tapeworm egg so much. And then when the tapeworm was fully formed, she didn't like it anymore. Obviously, I'm giving it to Bud and Snake. Just kidding. Good Boy Indy. How could you not give it to Good Boy Indy? And if you watched our Valentine's Day episode, that's probably a spoiler because we already gave an award to him.
Yes. Good Boy Indy. One of the greatest performances by an animal in a movie ever.
Yeah, that actually he beat out Sally Hawkins at the Astra Awards. And so I'm not going to disgrace Sally Hawkins by putting Good Boy in a category with her. But he is still going to win our Good Buddy Gallbladder Award.
Yes.
Yeah. And I don't want to promote stealing baby dinosaurs from their natural habitat, which is what happened in Jurassic World Rebirth to poor Dolores, the baby Achelops. Really cute dinosaur, but that girl had no business taking her home.
Yeah. And that also just seemed like what a lot of big budget modern movies do, where they have to add some cute element to it and just like shove it in there.
Yeah.
It's sort of like the Grogu effect.
Okay, but Grogu's so cute.
Exactly.
You can't and Grogu went to the Oscars this year and couldn't clap. So sad.
That was,
yeah. Adorable and sad. Two fun things. Okay, moving on to Best Directing. This year, Ryan Coogler was nominated for his directing role for Sinners, and I would have been happy if either Ryan Coogler or Paul Thomas Anderson won this year. Paul Thomas Anderson won. He had 11 previous nominations and then finally won. But we have nominated Emily Blichfeld from The Ugly Stepsister, Danny Boyle from 28 Years Later, Zach Kreger of Weapons, Joe Bagos of Jimmy and Stiggs, and Ben Leonberg of Good Boy.
Ooh, okay. These are really tough to decide between. Let's see, Ben Leonberg, who had to direct his animal and himself in a movie over the course of, I think they said it took them like 2 years to film this. Wow. Just filming it like on weekends or something like that. Joe Bagos, also a marathon directing effort where he was filming this for like 4 years in his apartment.
4 years.
Destroying his apartment.
Yeah.
Zach Cregger, Weapons was amazing. And Zach Cregger was, I mean, I assume that he was a great director because everything just came together flawlessly.
It did. And I know not a lot of people like the non-linear or different vantage point storytelling. I really enjoy it. And so I think he did that very well.
Danny Boyle in his directing is also just masterful with his camera work, with the way that he is not afraid to take risks to tell his story. The infected vision that were interspliced and trying to innovate with his camera, doing the bullet time iPhone shots. So
he really knows how to manipulate emotions through various means.
Yeah. And then we have Emily Blichfeld with the Ugly Stepsisters. I would say attention to detail. That scene where she's dancing that we mentioned before, the scene song, and everything comes together so perfectly where you feel her nausea and you feel like, you know, she's trying to appease these princes and go through all the stuff that she's going through. And at the very end of her like nauseating spin dance to that Peer Gynt song, she sees her arch nemesis Cinderella. And that moment was like such a brilliant moment for me.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to give my best directing award to Emily Blichfeld.
I'm shocked.
Very close. I mean, it barely edging out Danny Boyle just because Emily, like, I feel like the attention to detail in Ugly Stepsister was amazing. And
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. And just like those moments that really like drive the story, because this could have been a very mediocre film.
I could have seen this been people saying like, oh, it's just another Substance, or it's a retelling of the Substance, but a period piece.
Or even just like a retelling of the Cinderella story, which we've seen in a lot of different movies, a lot of
it's kind of like Frankenstein. It's like, how many times can we remake Frankenstein and make it better?
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. It's like it took a tall order of having something similar in theme to a movie that was very successful the year prior, and also having a new reimagining of this story that we all know very well, and still making it her own.
Yeah. So I'm holding out that Danny Boyle is going to direct the third part of the trilogy for 28 years later. And then, you know, maybe he'll get my best directing award.
Yes.
Then.
Exactly. Okay. That brings us to our best breakout guts. This is the first feature for a writer, director, or leading supporting actor role. We do have some honorable mentions that we'll get to at the end.
So the nominees for best breakout guts go to Emily Blichfeld, writer and director of The Ugly Stepsister; Leah Mirin as Elvira in The Ugly Stepsister; Ben Leonberg as the writer-director of Good Boy; Indy from Good Boy, the lead of that movie; Miles Catton as Sammy in the movie Sinners.
All right. Okay. So Miles Catton, he was also really heavy in the musical stylings of Sinners, like the performance and, you know, playing the guitar and acting. Indy's so cute. Just love him. Yeah. Oh my gosh. This is hard because we just gave Emily Blichfeld the Best Director Award, and I don't like to always give the same things to people.
There's no rules here.
No rules.
You can go in any direction you like.
Indy also already got a gallbladder award. Leah Mirin as Elvira in The Ugly Stepsister.
All right.
I just want to give more people awards.
Leah Mirin, well-deserved, amazing performance. A pure body horror, gross out, nausea. We felt her pain. We sympathized and empathized with her.
Yeah, especially when she's cutting off her toes. There are points where you really want to not like her because she seems so vapid and into these material things or into these stupid poems that this prince wrote. And she's so awful to Cinderella at times, but also Cinderella's not the best to her back. Like the scene where she's chomping on spaghetti in the bathtub and it's getting in the bathtub bathtub and her hair's falling out. You just really want to not like her, but you feel for her so much. And you realize the things that she's trying to attain, it's ultimately not her fault. But yeah, she has some great battle scenes in the end when it's like, it's her and her sister, and we get to see her smiling face, and she's like finally at peace with who she is and who her core people are. A great first feature performance from Leah Mirren.
And we have some honorable mentions.
Sora Wong as Piper in Bring Her Back. Joshua Erkman, the writer-director of A Desert. Morley Nelson, the writer-director of Uncontained. He had previously acted before, but this is his first feature film that he's written and directed. Brooke and Jack Nelson as Brooke and Jack from Uncontained. And they are the actual children of Morley Nelson. It's this really cute family combo. And Jennifer Wolf, the writer-director of Happy Ending. So some really good first-time writer-director filmmakers on this list and these honorable mentions, and a great first performance from Sora Wong.
And some indie horror film recommendations to check out as well.
Yes. So check out A Desert, check out Uncontained, check out Happy Ending. Okay. Our next category is Best One-Liner. We have...
So happy that I got this award.
Yes, you get this award. So we have some good one-liners that we heard. Okay, one of them might be a few sentences, but still. We have, hey, from Tim and Millie, aka Tilly, from Together. If you saw the movie, then
you know what we're talking about.
Know what we're talking about. Hey, okay, we have randomly quoted that throughout this entire year.
Yeah,
and we know exactly what we mean. We have hold, fucking go from Jimmy in 28 Years Later. We have Everybody Dies, and That's Life from the mom in The Monkey. We have Memento Mori and Memento Amoris from Dr. Kelson in 28 Years Later. And we have Don't Compare Yourself to the Shark. They're highly evolved. You're just a pathetic coward who kills women because mommy never loved you or whatever from Zephyr in Dangerous Animals.
Wow, that's an impactful one line.
It's several. But
could I have a write-in that gloss is gauche?
Yeah, okay, I really meant to have that in here. I'm sorry. Gloss is gauche from the wonderful Will Poulter playing Shepard. Okay, you're right. I actually really intended to have that in there. I just kept forgetting. It's hard to make these lists, guys.
This one, surprisingly, is pretty easy for me to decide. Were a lot of really great lines, but honestly, the one-liner is also just one word. So my winner is going to, hey. From the Tamili and Together.
Tamili.
It was shocking. It like made me laugh. I think I was laughing for a solid 15 minutes after.
We both were. We're just like, that's how they're ending this movie.
It's forever how I'm going to remember Together. Just that one last line in the movie. Sorry for the spoiler, but you go out and see it.
You need to hear them say, hey, can we get together? Ready? 1, 2, 3. Hey. No. 1, 2, 3. Hey. That was it.
My second place would probably go to like the Hold Fucking Go from Jimmy, because that is also, I feel like that's an iconic line for me
when
for last year.
When he delivered that line. Also, that would be a good...
What a great introduction to a character.
He should have been for Spleen Stealer. I forgot to put him in Spleen Stealer.
Yeah,
because that was one scene and he was very impactful in that one scene. I'm just going to add him retroactively just so we know for next year who should have been in there.
So the next award goes to the Best Original Feature, and the nominees for this category are The Ugly Stepsister, which we cannot say enough about, singing its praises, Weapons, Bring Her Back, Good Boy, or Jimmy and Stiggs. I should also mention that Sinners was nominated for Best Picture at the Oscars this year, and maybe possible snub. A lot of people wanted Sinners to win.
Yeah, I know. For me, I was like, I will be happy with Sinners or One Battle After Another. My horror fan in me wanted Sinners. There are some very original features on this list. Jimmy and Stiggs, Good Boy, those are both very original concept like movies. I have never seen movies like those before. As a feature, as a whole, obviously Ugly Stepsister got my #1 spot last year. But as like an original movie, Jimmy and Stiggs was pretty original. That was pretty weird. I'm just going to give it to Ugly Stepsister with Jimmy and Stiggs in my runner-up.
Oh, wow. Okay. Jimmy and Stiggs got your runner-up.
It did.
Interesting. I probably would have given it to Bring Her Back or Weapons.
Yeah.
One of those two.
I'm taking the word original very literally.
Yeah.
Because I'm just like Jimmy and Stiggs, the way it was made, the length and time that he took to make it, and the execution of it, I think that was a pretty original concept.
Yeah, I love Jimmy and Stiggs. I thought that was a fantastic movie.
Yeah.
So glad that came out.
Next, we have Best Franchise Installment. We have quite a few honorable mentions, but we have 6 in the running for you to choose from, Tony. We have Final Destination Bloodlines, 28 Years Later, Toxic Avenger, Strangers Chapter 2, I Know What You Did Last Summer, and Predator Badlands.
All right. So just starting from the bottom up here, Predator Badlands, I thought was a fun movie. I enjoyed it, but I pretty much leave it at that. I Know What You Did Last Summer. I didn't enjoy this one as much. I know a lot of people did. Strangers Chapter 2, I know you loved this one. I thought that the part where she's it's like the Halloween 2-esque version where she's going through the chase and all that. The hospital, and she's doing her Revenant impersonation. I thought that was really cool. With the boar,
yeah.
But then after that, I was just like,
no, but also her scene when she's in the car with those four people that she doesn't know that well. And like,
that was a good scene.
That was a really cool, intense scene.
Yeah, we found out who Tamara was, all that. Yeah. We've been wanting to know.
We've been waiting to know, and we accomplished that at least.
Exactly. Toxic Avenger, also fun, but kind of a little bit of a letdown for me.
This one I actually fell asleep. Usually you do, but for this one I dozed off.
It was fun, and I love Peter Dinklage.
I do.
There was something about it that was just, I don't know. I couldn't get into it.
Yeah.
Final Destination Bloodlines, another one that I enjoyed, but I wouldn't say it was
I think as a franchise,
amazing.
You're not a fan of the franchise.
I really like the first one, but
Right.
I think the thing that is the draw of the Final Destination movies is like the big set pieces.
Mm-hmm.
And for a lot of people, I feel like it was a formative movie. But by the time that Final Destination came out, especially at the time it came out, I was not into it. And I've kind of learned to love it later.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not my franchise. But 28 Days Later is my franchise.
Yes.
And so I'm giving my award to 28 Years Later, which was also my favorite horror movie of 2025. So I'm giving it to that.
Yeah, so 28 years later and Ugly Stepsister are just sweeping the GASH ceremony.
I mean, that should be pretty apparent because those were our top 2 horror movies of 2025.
Yep.
And it's the one that I would watch over and over again. I think I've watched it now like 4 times, and I feel the same way about it. I know that some people did have a problem with the shift that it took into like that really cool opening scene and then really slowed down near the end. And then kind of hits you with like a WTF ending kind of thing. But I thought it all worked really well.
He manipulates your emotions.
Yeah, I loved every second of it. We do have some honorable mentions here. We have Silent Night, Deadly Night.
Which we didn't see, but we heard it was good. So it gets to be an honorable mention.
I don't know if I heard it was good.
I heard it was fun. So we have Conjuring Last Rites, Black Phone 2, Megan 2.0, and Influencers.
Yeah, out of those honorable mentions, I would actually probably pick all of the ones that I've seen because I haven't seen Silent Night, Deadly Night.
Or Conjuring.
Or The Conjuring. I would probably pick Influencers. I actually thought that was a pretty decent follow-up.
And it had some funny moments. I remember we were watching it and kind of laughing a bit. Black Phone 2 had some good moments, but I do think the fight scenes went on a bit too long. I think I heard from others that it seemed too much like Dream Warriors as a concept. And I could see that.
The grabber ice skating as an image was really cool.
Yeah.
But just kind of fell flat a little bit for me. Okay, next award. And Aleece, you're going to choose this one. We have the Second Kidney Movie. This is an award for a fictitious movie, a sequel, prequel, or remake for a certain movie. And we have 3 nominations for this. Aleece, your nominees for the Second Kidney Movie would be House on Eden, Night of the Tripod.
Where they actually use a tripod or a Steadicam.
Yes. 28 Years Later, a prequel that features Isla and Jamie as a badass couple, because we saw hints of Isla being like this like badass warrior before
like a revolutionary that formed
Yeah.
this community because it's in the tapestry.
Yeah, before she came down with cancer. And the next one would be Weapons, Diaries of Aunt Gladys, a prequel.
I did not know that this was actually going to be a thing when I made this list. And then Tony was like, yeah, that's going to happen. I'm like, what?
I think just how popular that character is, they decided that that's going to be something that's in the works.
Played by Annie
So I'm
Madigan?
not 100% sure on that, but I'm pretty sure that there's something that's in the works. It's going to be a prequel.
That would be really cool. If Diaries of Aunt Gladys stars Amy Madigan, then that is my choice.
Not House on Eden with a tripod.
You know, they had their chance. If they couldn't do it with all those cameras that they had, I don't know if they could do it with a tripod either.
All right, we're almost there. We have three more categories. And these
categories.
are all our own gutted
Our own
categories.
special gutted categories.
So for those who listen to us regularly, you'll recognize these categories here.
Yeah, and we do not have an axe for any particular movie because we do feel like it's an amazing accomplishment to have made a movie at all. So even the movies that we haven't enjoyed this past year, we're still like, good job, you made a movie. We didn't do it. So there is no axe award. Next up, we have our first aid kit. This is the award for a character that expired in a movie in this past year that we think deserved to not die. And it is a bit of a spoilery category. So I will say the movie title first, and then I will say the character, and you can decide if you want to mute us for this portion or not. So in the movie Bring Her Back, pausing, the character of Andy, who plays the brother of Piper. The next character we have is from the movie Coyotes, and this is Trip's cat. Trip, the lovable, self-absorbed, maybe high neighbor, has a cat that he can't find. And I think we find him later and he's dead, sad. In the movie Influencers, we have the character of Charlotte, played by Georgina Campbell, who I think was underutilized in the film as a whole.
Definitely.
And then lastly, from Predator Badlands, we have the snake buddy who
So sad.
dies saving Deck, our Yacha main predator. And it's like, why? Why did the snake buddy have to sacrifice himself or herself for this predator that they just met? Anyway, it was really tragic. And no one really cared that much. I was upset. Anyway, who do you choose, Tony?
All right. So I am going to choose from the movie Bring Him Back.
Yeah.
I'm going
Bring
to
him
choose
back.
Andy.
Good choice.
Because it was really sad that this character did not survive the movie.
I couldn't believe it when this was happening. And I was
It
like,
was a
no.
shocking death. Yeah.
I was like,
a
no, that's
sad
not
death.
it. That can't be it. So
Yeah.
that would get my award too, my first aid kit.
Yeah. So from Bring Her Back, I'm going to give it to Andy.
Yeah, good choice. All right. Hopefully you skipped past all of that and you're good to go now. So thumbs up.
Or you've seen all the movies and
You've seen them
know the
all.
spoiler.
You're good.
Yeah.
All right. That brings us to...
Ooh, we have next the Best Intestines Award. And Aleece, you're going to get to choose between, we have 6 nominees
Seven. We have
seven.
seven.
Oh, I cannot count, obviously. We have 7 nominees
I really tried to whittle this down to either 5 or 6, but
for the Best Intestine Award. Your nominees are, we have the MRI or CAT scan kill, which is the demise of Eric in Final Destination Bloodlines. We have Julia Gets Dumped, also from Final Destination Bloodlines, the garbage truck smash. We have from Dangerous Animals, Heather's Feeding Time. From the movie Heart Eyes, we have Jordan and Sam gutted together, the couple guts. From the movie Bambi the Reckoning, we have Thumper's Revenge.
or Thumper's Reckoning.
Thumper's Reckoning. From I Know What You Did Last Summer, we have father and son fishing hangout, Teddy and Dad.
Mm-hmm.
And then from 28 years later, we have Alas pour Eric, who got the Hamlet treatment.
He got the Hamlet treatment from lovely Dr. Kelson after his whole head and neck and spinal column were ripped out by Samson. There were some good deaths this year. And I Know What You Did Last Summer. I know you didn't like this movie as a whole, but this scene was pretty gruesome. Like the stuff that Teddy had to go through. He kind of gets the Barry from the original, but a lot, like times 10. So he really knows how to take a stabbing initially, but in the end, he does get gutted and hung like a fish alongside his dad, like two little marlins. Speaking of fishing adventures, Heather in Dangerous Animals, when she is forced to be eaten by sharks by the maniacal Bruce Tucker, that is a really haunting death scene that really
That's probably
stuck
the
with
most
me.
haunting on this list.
The
for sure,
most
yeah.
haunting for sure. And that movie doesn't have that many deaths in general, but that one is a haunting death that stuck with me the whole year. Jordan and Sam, the couple having a lot of fun together at the drive-in, and then they get gutted together. It was a cool scene. It kind of reminded me of the prom night moment from the original Prom Night.
Yeah, it seemed like an ode to prom night for sure.
The garbage truck smash and the CAT scan kill, those were both really good. Thumper's Revenge was cute because this guy who kicks a bunny into oblivion, into the distance, he gets his comeuppance by falling into a bear trap. So his head gets snapped and then he gets eaten by a bunch of ravenous bunnies, a la the death by all the Compy dinosaurs in Jurassic Park 2. Very similar to that. And Thumpers are really cute. Ultimately, I mean, I think I have to give it to the CAT scan kill because that one just kept going and you saw what was going to happen. Like the piercings were coming out. You could see that Eric had like nipple piercings because they were coming through his shirt and you're like, ugh. And then he's just snapped in half backwards. Gross.
And a lot of it done with practical effects. And they basically had to just like make a full body cast of this guy and just like pull it through.
Suck it through.
Yeah.
That was crazy. And it was a long scene. So definitely gets my...
That was the highlight of Final Destination Bloodlines.
Even though I actually really liked that character and did not want him to expire.
I know. It was a little shocking that it happened.
Yeah. We're like, oh, we thought he made it. We thought he was good. But no, Death wanted him anyway.
Well, I mean, it is Final Destination. So it's like, you can't really...
No one's safe.
Yeah, nobody's safe.
But like we thought we figured out a way to make him safe because he wasn't like technically super related, in this bloodline. But
it doesn't matter. Death knows no bounds.
He was related enough.
All right. And that brings us to our final award.
Oh my gosh. And you get to choose. So lucky, Tony.
Yay.
Okay. You got to open and choose. Wow. Or
the way that it works.
And end. Interesting. Yeah. Okay. So we have the Large Intestine Award, the final stop and most satisfying end. It is for the best reveal or finale of a movie. We have 5 nominees and a couple honorable mentions. We have the finale of 28 Years Later with the Jimmies. We have the finale of The Ugly Stepsister, where Elvira gets to actually be happy in life and not turn into a puddle of goo because she's punished.
Without toes, mind you.
Without toes. She doesn't have toes, but she does have her sister in The Ugly Stepsister. And then we have the finale of Weapons. I think we all know the finale with Aunt Gladys being chased by a horde of screaming children. And then we have 2 reveals that I will not reveal the ending. I'll just say the movie. And if you know, you know. We have the reveal of Marshmallow and the reveal in Presence. Okay, so Tony, what gets your best large intestine award?
It's between 2.
Yeah.
And I think it's pretty safe to say which 2 those are. They happen to be our top 2 movies of 2025. But I am giving my best reveal or finale to the WTF moment in 28 Years Later featuring the Jimmies. One of the coolest introductions to some characters and just like split audiences and people are not sure what to think. Are they Power Rangers? Is this some sort of like child predator influence character that really disturbs and creeps me out? is it all part of the world? And is like, who is this guy? There's so much mystery and anticipation to set up the next movie, tied with an amazing song. We get the East Hastings
from
the original. And we also get that credit song, Pals from Young Fathers, it was just the most satisfying end to me. I thought it really worked. A lot of people hated it. To me, it was the best ending. Still, when I watch it, I still get chills watching that scene.
It is a good scene. I agree.
Yeah.
Okay, so to me, it was between 28 Years Later and Marshmallow. And I won't say much about Marshmallow, but you should see it because I did not see a lot of this coming until there's like a halfway point where you're like, oh, I actually think I know where this is going now. And then you end up being correct. They do a good job of misdirecting you the whole time until you start getting little nuggets here and there. And you're like, okay, I think I know what's going on.
Yeah, that was a really cool indie film that came out this year.
It was really cool. And I forgot about it for a while because I forgot to rate it on Letterboxd. And that's like the whole point for me of why I have a Letterboxd, so I can actually look back and remember what I've watched. And if it doesn't go in there, I forget. So I don't think we mentioned it as much in our best of 2025 or very much at all throughout this list. But it is a good indie flick. Definitely give that one a watch. 28 Years Later is the best finale, but Marshmallow has the best reveal.
All right. Wow. Okay. What an interesting pick there.
We have two honorable mentions. We have the reveal of the housemaid, which was pretty fun. And then we have the reveal in Night of the Reaper, which is also fun and cool. So another like little indie flick of Night of the Reaper. So give that one a watch too.
Awesome. Okay. That about does it. That is our 2025 GASH ceremony. And before we close out this episode, we wanted to just give a quick little look ahead to the 2026 GASH award ceremony.
Because there already have been some movies this year that we want to pay attention to for next year's awards ceremony. And again, some of these might be split in their reviews, but we've already had Bone Temple come out earlier this year. So 28 Years Later, Bone Temple, we get to see a lot more of the character of Samson, played by Chai Lewis Perry.
And honestly, it didn't disappoint. And a lot of people say that they like the Bone Temple more than 28 Years Later. I don't know if I fully agree. I'll have to watch them side by side. Or I'm waiting for the whole trilogy to come out. I really hope the third one does come out soon. And hopefully this goes down as one of the best horror reboots ever.
I think it's pretty good.
Yeah.
And I think Nia DaCosta did a great job. I think, again, I use the phrase tall order a lot, but I think she had quite a task in making the sequel to a movie in a franchise that is so beloved by many people in the horror world. And I think she really delivered with Bone Temple.
Yeah. So we also have another adaptation of Frankenstein in The Bride, which was a really fun movie as well. I think it definitely had some flaws, but you're definitely going to see it on some of our awards because it has a really awesome scene song.
It does have some good scene songs.
Hair and makeup.
And performance by Jessie Buckley, who is now Academy Award winning Jessie Buckley for her role in Hamnet. Her role as the bride in The Bride is amazing. Whether you love the movie or not, you can't deny that what she does, she feels her character so deeply. She moves very seamlessly between her two characters in the movie, and I won't spoil too much about that.
Yeah, and then we have some new villains that are coming that are definitely going to be on the list. We have Dolly from the movie Dolly, which was an amazing film, such a fun film.
And Dolly might also come up in the category of special visual or practical effects.
Yep. And then we also have Jimmy, who now is heavily featured in Bone Temple. So it's not just that little teaser.
He's not a spleen stealer anymore. He is he would be in the best villain category.
Yeah. And also from Bone Temple, Chai Lewis Perry as Samson, who is now more of like a supporting character rather than a villain.
Right.
Yeah, which is an interesting arc for that character.
And then there is a little indie film that we got to see last year, I think at Fright Fest or I don't know, some film festival last year. We saw Redux. And
it's sort of like a sci-fi thriller.
It's like a sci-fi time jumping thriller.
Not quite horror, but still in the genre.
It's adjacent, and we do like to include these horror adjacent films in our awards and mentions. But there's a first-time performance for Stella Marcus as Mia in Redux. She does a great job.
We have Strangers Chapter 3 that who knows if that will make it into the list. Aleece does love her Strangers reboot for some reason.
Well, I enjoyed Rennie Harlin's interesting takes on the Strangers universe.
Yeah, what a audacious director he is.
So audacious. And great scene song at the end where you're just like, I don't know if I want them to kiss or if they should kill each other.
Yeah.
But it's to the song Nights in White Satin. So that's a good scene song.
Yeah, we've had We Bury the Dead, which was a really cool zombie movie. Take on the genre. You didn't know I definitely love zombie movies.
Daisy Ridley does a great job as the lead protagonist as Ava.
Yeah. We have some newcomers. We had Iron Lung, which was a cool movie.
Nice little indie flick.
Yeah, so lots of different movies that are going to be included in the 2026 GASH Awards. So stay tuned.
Oh, wait. For scene songs, how could we forget about Bone Temple, Ray Fiennes' big scene as Dr. Kelson trying to trick all the Jimmies?
Just give that one the award now. I don't know if anything's going to top that.
Nights in White Satin?
Yeah.
In Strangers Chapter 3?
That could be like a scene song, a spleen stealer. It could be lead performance. He gets all the awards. He's not going to get snubbed.
He's just going to get all of it in 2026.
Yeah.
All right. Excellent. All right. We're excited about 2026 and we're just happy about 2025 and everything that happened.
Yeah. So thank you so much if you've listened this far. We would like to hear what you think were some of the best movies of 2025.
What was snubbed for you from the Oscars? What was snubbed for you from the GASH ceremonies? Do you disagree with us heartily on anything? And also, if you happen to see somebody's comment on that Fangoria post for Frankenstein, sorry. You can't believe everything you see on the internet. People are punchy.
My lesson learned for 2025 is never engage in an internet comment battle.
Never engage.
Social media comment battle.
We publicly apologize for everything. But thank you also for listening and watching this long. Like, subscribe, tell a friend, or give us a review if you like us. If you like what you've heard and you're listening to this long, please review somewhere.
Give us a share, any of that stuff. Any way to promote the podcast or to get the word out would be great. Help us grow the podcast and help us make some more fun episodes.
Some fun-sodes. Thanks, guys, for watching and or listening. This has been another episode of
Gutted. Hey,
bye.